Revolt against the federal government. More than 5,000 people have signed a petition backing a restaurant owner who is withholding his taxes in protest. Charlie Flynn from Belleville, Ontario, wants Liberal MPs meeting in Toronto to forget tax increases. He's asking Finance Minister Paul Martin to honor a pledge made last fall.
And now what we have to do is get our fiscal house in order. What does that mean? It means that government's got to attack its own spending. It's got to get its debt, its deficit under control. That's what's not been done.
And Charlie Flynn joins us this morning from Toronto. He's formed an organization called Fed Up, fellow entrepreneurs determined to upset parliamentarians. Hi, Mr. Flynn.
Good morning.
So we know you're withholding taxes, but what exactly are you doing? Where is the money going?
Basically, what I've done is I've set up a trust account. This trust account is set up with one of the municipal trust branches next door to my office. We're putting all of the taxes that we're now collecting into that trust account. Any other entrepreneurs or restaurant owners that want to join us are doing likewise.
So you're still collecting from the customer.
I'm still collecting from the customer.
But you're still breaking the law, I assume. You're supposed to be remitting those taxes to the government.
You know, well, breaking the law, I mean, Canadians started the tax revolt 3 years ago. For 3 years, we've all been breaking the law. Every time we pay cash instead of paying the GST, every time we take a drink of contraband alcohol, every time we smoke a contraband cigarette, we've been breaking the law for 3 years. I'm just doing it honestly.
And you're putting it in this trust fund, so where does it go?
Well, basically, it sits in the trust account until Mr. Martin either reviews the level of taxation, eliminates the GST, as the Liberals promised in their Red Book, or gives us some reason, after 6 prime ministers and 10 finance ministers, give us some reason to believe them, they're going to reduce spending and no new taxes.
Well, no one likes taxes, but what brought you to this?
I don't think we mind taxes. I think Canadians will pay their taxes if we are able. Basically, they're taxing us beyond our ability to pay. When you can't pay what you're supposed to, it becomes very, very frustrating.
Well, what happened in your business that spurred you on to do this?
Well, basically, I took a look at the price of a bottle of beer. $2.75 in my establishment. It cost me $2.76 to sell it. The government gets $1.13 in direct taxation, not counting realty tax, business tax, employer's health tax, workman's compensation tax, etc., etc. They're not leaving anything for me. I have no choice.
Well, it pays a lot of bills, though, in this country.
It pays a lot of bills, but basically, it took them, I think, a week after Power to cancel the Pearson Airport deal. It took them a couple of more weeks to cancel the helicopters. It took them 36 hours to disband the airborne. 18 months in office, the GST is still here. They promised they're going to eliminate it. Keep their promise.
Well, tax protests seem to be all the rage lately. The Canadian Taxpayers Federation had one going last night. The Reform Party is starting protests of its own. But in the past, these protests have never really caught on. People did try revolts when the GST was introduced. Is there any big sign that your campaign is going to have life?
Well, I think Canadians might be docile, Canadians might be easygoing, but I think Canadians have a long fuse, and that fuse has been burnt and has gone off. I don't think we're going to put up with it anymore. I received over 6,000 or 7,000 people from across Canada. I received over 100 entrepreneurs that tell me they'll stand beside me. People throughout Toronto, people from Vancouver, people from Newfoundland, Nova Scotia. I think Canadians are fed up, and we're not just protesting, we're suggesting a course of action. We're going to withhold our GST, withhold our PST until he promises no new taxes.
And you have 100 people doing this?
100 people that have offered to join me, entrepreneurs.
Now, we are hearing rumblings from Liberal backbenchers whose constituents are basically giving the same message, that there shouldn't be more tax increases. And I guess we'll all know when the budget comes down later this month, but the momentum does seem to be on your side.
Well, basically, I'll be getting hold of Paul Martin before the budget does come down and telling him how many Canadians have signed this petition. Hopefully, by that time, it's in the hundreds of thousands or even a million. But at the same time, we will be on Parliament Hill the day the budget comes down. And if there's one new tax, we're going to have a lot louder voice, and we're going to be a lot more fed up.
All right, Mr. Flynn, I want to thank you for telling us about your tax revolt today. We'll watch what happens when the budget comes down.
Thank you very much.
There are a lot of angry people in Europe about Canada, the decision yesterday to give Canada increased fishing rights off our 200-mile limit. They're threatening to go against